I don't believe in balance. I believe in radical obedience. And I believe that if I can understand that I can't violate principle and expect to prosper, so like that's in life. Hold that bar. You cannot violate principle and expect to prosper. There's laws of physics. There's laws that's written into the fabric of creation. There's laws and principles that will cause us to be successful in life. You have law of sowing and reaping. So that's a principle. You can't violate certain principles and expect to prosper. I feel like where most of us find great error is not knowing the will of God, not knowing these laws, these principles that exist in the world, and not knowing how that applies to you, which is why it's so important for me. I'm vested in Team Jesus, right? I don't know what everybody simply believes out there, but there's hope. But even if you tap into some principles, you can find success in the earth. It doesn't mean you'll find peace, and I think that's where you start talking about this balance that people are looking for. But I say, getting into some of my advice, I would say the hardest part is setting realistic expectations, right? What are realistic expectations? Well, I have to be very keen because I do have such a large and robust family, that I'm going to have some limitations. Right? When I say limitations, and the only way that we can make up for like physical limitations with our time is like money gives us the ability to get resources, right? That's really what money is. Money is really one of the most deceptive mechanisms in the world. Because there's nothing wrong with it. It's not money itself. It's the love of money that perverts our entire construct as humans. So money is a means to an end. Money, even the dollar, it's really no value, right? We understand the US dollar, it was backed by gold. So it was backed by a natural resource, right? And the strength of the economy is what determines the strength of the dollar. We're starting to see all these things happening and people having these conversations. But first you have to set realistic expectations when it comes to managing a family, when it comes to managing your work life, your business. If you're a business owner, you might want to 10x the effort that it's going to take because now other factors are involved. It's not just one or two skill set. It's taking the entire ownership of bringing a successful service to fruition that adds value to potential customers, right? That's more dynamic than being an IT professional, right? It's just, hey, you get the chance to lock in on your skill, perfect that, be accountable to people. Totally different things. And I've exercised all of them at this stage in my life. So the first thing is you have to set realistic expectations. I'm going to frame, before I get into a little bit more advice, I'm going to frame how my mindset works when it comes to me managing my business, my family, and finding that centerpiece where I'm really at peace, knowing that I'm giving my best, pursuing excellence, and getting great done every single day. Because that's the whole goal. You got to get great done. The first thing is I have to know my purpose. I have to know my purpose. Well, what is my purpose? I was created by God, and for his pleasure. That's my purpose. Every single one of you, you have to understand what your purpose is, why you exist in the world, right? What are you put here to do? They call them existential questions, existential realities. Because you live in the earth long enough, you start bumping your head against a few walls and you start questioning, why am I doing what I'm doing? Right? And I think men we're a little more hardwired to not just we're motivated with things that bring purpose. Like the hardwiring is like, man, I want to win. I want to be successful. All right. Successful at what? Right. So first you got to know your purpose. Then you have to understand your role. Right. So now that for me, that's my clarifying purpose. Then I got to know my role. Well, roles are very much attached to identity, right? I think it's really important for every single one of us to flourish in the most meaningful places that you can identify with. So it's like, hey man, when we introduce ourselves, we're usually more focused on what we do. Hey man, my name is David. I'm a football player, right? I don't introduce myself all that way, but my name is David. I'm a son of Jesse. The first thing I am is a son. Every dude on the earth, the first thing you're gonna be is a child to somebody, and that kind of shapes a lot of our experience. So roles are like son, husband, father. If you get them well in that successive order, I can assure you you'll have the best opportunity to have sound of mind. But the family dynamic really gives us security and structure for how we're going to prosper in the marketplace.